phone as Bembe Kotas, but Bengamas, and I think he can also say, Guys, I hope you learned something. I hope you took something. Like Uba Bembe has said, the life of going to a prison doesn't just ruin your future, it ruins your psychology as well. Psychologists would usually say the most torturing part of being in a prison is on your psychology. And we are here because we're saying we want to raise awareness on our mental health. And the reason we would bring an ex-con to speak to you is to say, let's look after you and look after your mental health and teach you that certain places don't even experiment with. You know, when we prank each other in class, we it starts there. And if you don't nip it in the bud right there, it grows. I have personally seen uncles and cousins go through this journey, and I've seen how it's broken them. I don't wish it on anyone. Don't experiment. You know you've got that little inner voice inside of you that tells you that, Listen to that little voice. Don't experiment when they say, aspemela, uzoiboni mnand, or puzala. There's no, let me tell you, nkulele stratin, ayikuntesi benefitile. So don't test it. Don't test the drugs. Don't test the smoking. Not even hardly. They are lying when they are saying it doesn't kill you as quickly as a cigarette. It's worse. Ne? So don't try. If you know that if my mom or my dad caught me with this thing, Yoshuba, if we ask Guti, I must explain, and you must then hide it from mom and dad and sisters at home, don't take it. Instead, be the one that says, be the friend that says, you left something. Be the keeper of other people. You know, there's a thing of saying, be your brother or your sister's keeper. Mabazi ukuthi mangihambe nawe anyeke ngilahlekelwe izinto, instead into zami safe. Mabazi ukuthi mangihambe nawe anyeke ngizithole endaweni wrong. Instead mangihambe nawe, even my parents know that when I'm with this one, they are comfortable. They know that I am safe. Ne? We're going to move right along. We're going to call our next speaker. Let me see. Is she here? Yes, she is. We're going to call someone from the Social Development and Mental Health Awareness. All right. No, I've just been given a new directive. Here's what we're going to do. It is currently 12:48. We're going to stand up. We're going to stretch our legs. We're going to take a little bit of a break. The bathrooms are out through this door on your left. It's the ladies. I think if you go further up, it's the gentlemen's bathrooms. Ne? We're going to take a quick break. Masbuya. We're going to call the speaker that I was about to call to stage. Ne? So let's go refresh ourselves, drink some water. Ngiyabona sidlama apula kumnandi. Ne? We come back here at 1. Ne? round of applause. You are an awesome crowd. Because ngitheni buya ngo-1 and ngo-1 you were already inside. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, before we move ahead, you were given little pieces of papers when you walked in, right? By show of hands, how many of us read at least the first paragraph? You read it. What does it talk about? I didn't hear that. And what does that say to you? What are you understanding about it? Lovely, lovely, lovely. It's the same thing Ubab Bembe said when he was up here. Do you guys remember that? He said, don't look at social media and think that is how life really is. People wake up, bath, get dressed, go to a fancy place, take pictures, come back, and go back to sometimes their miserable lives. And they've left you now included in their miserable lives because now you want what you saw on social media. Ne? All right. Now, we had 2 speakers come up just before our break. I want to hear from 3 of you. What did you learn from Ubab Bembe? And I've referenced a lot of things he said, hey? And what did you learn from Ubab Dube when they were up here? Just 3 people that can tell me. Send Kotli. No smoshang ama banana nama apple ne? Tepi? No more. No more. Sebe Kotliwe. No one is raising their hand. Yes. Okay. Urileng wa bobedi wa boletse.
encourage ba bangwe ka kwa tro go ba le bona ba ba etswa ba thome bophelo ga botse le bile ke motivational speaker ya dikolong go thusha bana ba tlogele bullying le lo utswa ba tswetse pele thuto.
Yo, that was a 3-minute summary of everything about Bembe. So now we can touch on what Bab Bembe said, ne? We're gonna just now the second person must give me what Bab Dube said. He covered everything, right? So he touched about how Ubab Bembe comes from prison, how he got to prison, how he was an A student. So it doesn't mean all the people there in prison were stupid and dumb. Some of them are very, very smart. He was an A student, you heard that, ne? So being an A student and having the wrong crowd around you, or being a wrong crowd yourself, can make you end up in the wrong places, yabo? He also remembered that he is now an entrepreneur. He owns a kota shop, and in that kota shop, he's written a book that encourages how others can start, and he's encouraging young people not to bully. All right? Did he get it right? Awesome. Now I want one person to tell me what he has learned or she has learned from Ubabu Dube. Animzwang. Hayi babudube ngathi uzobuya so. Abakuzwanga mhlambe besalambile besingadla ama-apple besalambile so asikuzwanga. No one. You want to try? Right. Tell me what he said.
What I learned is that everything is about decision. Everything we do is about decision. We decide where we want to be and where we want to go, and what the things that we want to do. So you can either decide to do good or you can either decide to do bad. So there's always a decision to make in everything you do. So it's important for us to make the right decision depending on what we are facing in the in an environment that you're in.
Lovely, lovely. Let's give them both a round of applause. Hayi, kusho ukuthi nilalele. I'm proud of you. Kusho ukuthi you've been listening to us, you've been listening to the speakers that are here, and kusho ukuthi if anything, you are leaving with one thing that you are taking home to make yourselves better human beings by the time we leave here. We're going to move right along to the next part of our program, and I'm going to call Umam Dubege Manje to come and introduce our next speaker.
Dumelang, 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 dumelang. Dumelang. Lekai. Everything. All right. So before Rietwane, I don't want to take for advantage where how did you introduce yourself? With Ntwaki? Okay. Okay, so I know that Ntwaki just asked us to summarize, but I don't want to take for advantage where we think they've covered. Does anybody have questions before we move on? Ntate Dube, aka my husband, spoke up. Hey boo. He spoke about a lot regarding decisions, and he used his own experience again. Ne? And then we had Ntate Katongotlo speaking about real life, real consequences. Do we have questions? I know I've had a lot of questions about prison, but today is not about me. I live with Ntate Dube, so I've asked him all my questions. Does anybody have questions before we continue for the first two speakers? So that when the last two speakers come, we don't bombard you and so has it right while things are still a bit fresh? Something. All right. So tell me who your question is for, ne? And then tell me what your question is. Oh, thank you.
Can I read a question for Bana Bababedi?
Yeah. Okay, both our speakers, it's for both of you.
Okay, wama thomo na be ke nako ntlo. Ampotsa yena di o khitse ka like self esteem ya gona o kgetha di decisions tse di sharp ka ke a tswa mo lefaseng o tshitse di influencers a se tsona di tlomisha thoko ga pate na o khotse jang go motivate ka bo yena a sa ka batho ba rena gona o te potsa nna ke na ka tse mo philong di decisions tsa tsereng gona di a jwa.
Okay, tshwara mone. Umzwile? Shem, I'll work mo translate like as a habone. Ufuna ukwazi ukuthi uthole kanjani wena motivation yokukhetha kahle. Because angithi wena ukhuluma ngama decisions ahlukile. Wena ukwazi kanjani ukukhetha lento ekhethile. Now ubuye kazi. Now ubuya kuyo yonke lento. Wena ukhethe kanjani? And maybe even tell us ukuthi ubuya ever city after 2 years ungasebenzi. What was your first job and what were you scared of?
So, I was fortunate, last born so my brother was a very huge influence on me. He was a very huge influence on me. He helped me make a lot of decisions, or he helped me make the right decisions. He guided me. So maybe that's something you need to think about. Find somebody who can be your mentor, somebody who is already established. So I can tell you now that my first job, guys, after sitting 2 years asking for cool time money, I was a parking attendant. Do you guys know what a parking attendant is? You see at the mall, when you're at the mall and you're at the parking station and you press there and say, hey, help with the ticket, that's me on the other line talking to you. And that was a very degrading job in the sense that I would see people from my varsity who already had nice jobs and they saw me down there below earning 3,000 rand a month. But I was in the system, guys. That's the important thing. Get your foot in, get your hands dirty, get in there. And then God will help you along the way. Now I'm a property manager. I manage Waterfall City. I'm at the top of my field. God has been good. But I started where? Down there at the parking office. Yes, those people there, they were busy bullying me in that small job there. I am their boss now. I can fire them if I want to, but I won't. So just find somebody positive, somebody who's already on their way, or somebody who's made it, who you can ask advice from. And also, don't be afraid to take a small job. God will show you the rest of the way.
Ngiyabonga babdu. So o make sure o na le motho o leng moholo le go wena ne. O someone o mo hlomphang and o mmamela ha o jwetse re etsa so. O ska ntse o phikisana le yena. Wa itseba tsela ko pele ke re ke ntwa itshilong. Tshepe modimo and o qale. The most important thing, guys, is to start and to start with God and to have a mentor. Right, question number 2.
Picture really go o la o bile jwang a motivational speaker or a kgona ho tlhotlheletsa batho ka mo ka le nna ke na go mshela ka morao.
Sir, this one is for you.
Okay, angazi noma ngizwe kahle ne. Uthi ngithole phi Oh, okay. I mean, being a motivational speaker, it's actually not a title, or anyone can be a motivational speaker. You can be a motivational speaker. Anyone here can be a motivational speaker. And my experience is on like a person who smokes drugs. Maga quita smoke drugs, and then abona abanye abantu babhema or abanye abantu ngathi bafuna ukubhema. That person becomes a motivational speaker. Encourager laba bangakabhemi nalaba babhemayo ukuthi it is possible ungayeka ukubhema. So nami, because I was doing crime, you understand. So it came to me ukuthi no, like okay, thing clarify kahle ne. I was never a criminal. I was an A student, like I said. But through ijeni nokuhlangana nabantu abarong empilweni, yabona, I ended up in a wrong place. But mangiphuma ngabona ukuthi no man, you know, I so wish ukuthi ngathi ngabe ngayenza kahle. I spent 8 years in prison. Like I've never enjoyed my youth. Iyouth yami ngisejele. So I don't want to see anybody omunye I experience a hardship. Yabona. So the best way for me ukuthi ngibone ama result or ukuthi mina bengizoba njani is to motivate you young people ukuthi ningahambi kule ndlela. If ngihlangana nawe ucala ukuthi uyabhema or ukuthi uyaganga ngizokukhuza, I'm going to motivate you. That's how I motivate people. I hope ngi answer right. Yena. No, like when I'm mhlambe if positive angisho abana njengasesikolweni, yeah, right futhi wena njengasesikolweni, your peers I'm sure khona ababhemayo babang baganga babang bayitsa ntho tsetswile kotsileng wabona wena uba motivator utlobwa libona uba khuza uba butse gore bafethu ntwe so reads wabona o shebele di video kan sheba le mo TikTok mo di podcasting tsengata. Just last week I had an interview. My quarter place is very known even worldwide. Last week I had an interview from CNN International. There was never a quarter interview at CNN. La. I'm the only quarter place. I've also been interviewed. It's not the first time. I've also been interviewed by ENCA, like most international news channel by Tanti quarter place. You understand? So you can encourage abantu ababhaya. Mina as a mentor, I'm a mentor myself. Unga encourage abanye abantu ukuthi abafethu bhekani Hrotman lapana uPradeli Sabembe yabona. Is doing well, is trying, naye beka waphuma endleleni yabona. So now I'm going to help you guys ukuthi singahambi kuleza indlela bekazihamba before. Wabona. So ukaba motivator li wena ko classing thoma ka batho ba banyane or wabona a lead utsi so wabona ummuso la ko oseceleni kwakho ukuthi mfethu usikatsuka. Mfethu uska kena mo bullying ko di what you call ama gangsterism. That's how you start. Ne, Shampich.
Sharp. So far, Toti, your company, clearly, because he wasn't a criminal, nearly a student. Problem, nearly, dichomi, right? So we've got your company, re khutlela ko potsong ya hao pele, akere di decisions tse no botsa ka tsona. Ra khutlela hape le ko mentorship. Ba bona re di a kopana? Mentorship, your company, when how bona ntho e right le wrong, you share. Ska tshaba. And the battle tshe, mara wetsa ntho e sharp. Akere? Okay, kopa maiki ela engwe. Got another question on this side? So tlo mpotse potso ya hao ke ya mang ne, and then you ask your question.
My question is for anyone who has a relevant answer.
Okay.
My question is, from what I've observed and what I was, when I was listening, I've got to a point whereby I don't know if I'm on the right track, but then I think we need to find purpose. We need to find purpose. But then my question is, how can you be able to find purpose before you get into things that you're not supposed to do? Maybe crime, maybe things like that. Then I think purpose can help a person to make the right decision. So how do you find purpose before you get into those situations?
Good question. So one of our last speakers is actually going to cover that, but in the meantime, anybody who's gone, does anybody want to unpack? Pastor G is here, by the way, guys. So we still have two more speakers. Some of them, I know one of them is definitely going to speak on it. But before Ki Fita, because I keep out Emma until I because somebody else may have a different answer. To all of our speakers or anybody that's here with a relevant answer, like he said, how do you find your purpose before you take the risk of being in the wrong place? Does anybody have an answer? I feel like she's got an answer for this. Come give us, yes. Oh, okay, a short answer, basically. We've got one more question. Then
The
we'll move
question
on.
is, how do you find your purpose? What is that one thing that bothers you in life? I'm bothered by things that don't have order. So, my purpose is I am a nurturer. I don't usually start ideas, but I nurture other people's ideas. You give me a vision, I grow it. That's what I've learned in my life. And I discovered that by understanding what is it that bothers me. Mawuhleli lapho, what have you identified that bothers you about what's happening today? That's how you're going to find your purpose. I found my purpose in what bothers me and then serving to correct that which bothers me. It could be different for you. You could be interested in art. You could be a drawer. You could love speaking. And you find yourself, your friends come to you for advice. You could be the person that when they are in need, they come to you just for comfort. Sometimes you don't even advise them. You just sit with them and comfort them. And that could be something that is linked to your purpose. So I always say you find your purpose by what is it that one thing that wherever you are paying attention to and it bothers you. Good? Thank you.
Thank you so much. There was another hand to the side. Is there still a question? Okay, this is the last question we're going to take, and then we are moving on. Ne?
My question is for Mr. Pembe. I just want to know, Uti, since you went to prison and you said a criminal record ruins your life. So I hear that actually there are classes and courses ukuthola qualifications. So I just want to know, Uti, if a criminal record ruins your life, what about those qualifications? Ngoba there's redemption after prison. So that's my question. How are you redeemed after prison?
Okay, first of all, ngiyabonga ntwana ne. First of all, ngicela ukuba brutally honest. Ama qualifications wasejela wasebenzi ngaphandle. Yeah, ungezwa bakukhohlisa. Although some, ngiyabona kuya ngelakhi. Most abantu engibaziyo 90% of the people I know abanama qualifications wasejela babafika la ngaphandle azange abasebenzele. For the fact that you've got a criminal record, no one wants to hire you. Even if ungene ejele ushaya umuntu ngempama. You understand? For the fact that ku status sakho kubhaliwe ukuthi you've got a criminal record, So when you go out, I've done so many, unfortunately, bengenza ama-Bible courses mina in prison, yabona. But I know people who have done like law, they've done so many qualifications as serious. Akekho no-one engimaziyo mina currently who is employed or working through those qualifications. So, according to my understanding, ejele, you know why banifundisa zonke lezi zinto? So that at least iba minimize violence. Because in prison, siyabuya, kuyaliwa, people die, people fight a lot. So the only way ukuthi bakhona ukuthi minimize nokuthi control is to lie to you, banitshela ukuthi no, if you learn, at least mawuphumela ngaphandle uzoba nama qualifications, you understand, of which mawuphuma so is something or useless. Going to prison mawubuya ngaphandle useless prior. Uwe kumele uzithabathe, uziqoqe ube lento ofuna ukuba yiyo. That is why I always encourage people ukuthi don't even think ukuthi ejele kumnandi, it's a 5-star hotel. Ayikho la ideng.
When he said he's going to be brutally honest, he wasn't joking, ne? All right, so it's what ne? I hope ne? There's 2 speakers. I'm sure Batlo Araba on top of what Osintwaki said. So we're going to be moving on. Get your questions, Mamelang, engage, ne? Right. So our next speaker is Miss Sheila Kaba. Sheila is a practicing therapist with 12 years in mental and substance use disorder. 12 years from grade 1 to matric. Just to put it into perspective. That's how much she has an experience. I don't want to talk for her. Mara, I will encourage you, Mamelang. And I say this because you are in for a treat. You are about to receive something you've never heard and receive from a well of wisdom. Ne? You are privileged, so pay attention. How's Sheila?
Good afternoon, Sanbonani, Ninjani. I think Tepi has introduced me quite well. Gamang Sheila Mwagakaba. I'm Swati speaking from Eswatini. And I'm just listening to everyone impart wisdom in you guys, and I had prepared, but I think I am compelled to share something that is very raw, especially just seeing the audience today. When Tepi and Pastor D briefed me, I was expecting a lot of university students. So my preparation was along those lines. I didn't really anticipate to see so many young people today. As I've said, as Tepi has said, I'm a mental health professional with vast years of knowledge and experience in the field, So mental health has a lot to do with, how you are feeling, your psychological well-being, your emotions, And oftentimes in go high, they might not understand you because you'll be experiencing different things, So I'm going to touch on a few of those things, and some of them might resonate with you, some of them you might have experienced, okay? So looking into, it's back to school, it's back to varsity, and you are leaving home, that can come with a lot of challenges, You might experience what we call anxiety. because of the change. And, you know, some of you got promoted to new grades. Some of you got promoted to, you know, second year. If you're doing first year, some of you, it's going to be your first year, right? And anxiety is a common response to stress, but it can become very overwhelming. And how do I know that I have anxiety or I'm feeling anxious, you know? Constant worry. So there's worrying, and then there's worry that is not normal. You know, I don't like using the word normal, but when you are constantly worried, when you are constantly thinking about the following day, you know, what's going to happen, how am I going to pay for my school fees, how are my parents going to manage their household, when I am also expecting so much from them in terms of their finances and their other siblings at home. Worrying about that for a short period of time is okay, but constantly ruminating on that and thinking about that can be a symptom of anxiety. Sometimes you can tell that you are anxious or you have anxiety when you have relentless racing thoughts. Sometimes it can also show, you can also feel it like physically, your body becomes very, very tense when you are anxious sometimes. There are certain things that we call triggers. So what is a trigger? A trigger is something that might cause you to feel anxious or experience anxiety. So triggers for anxiety, they are different. There is academic pressure, there is social adjustment and financial concerns, as I have mentioned. How do you then cope with feeling anxious or anxiety? Breathing exercises. I know that it sounds like, but I'm always breathing. Even right now as I'm talking, I am breathing. So breathing exercises differ. There are different techniques that can help you to regulate your nervous system. And talking to someone, a professional, can also help. Sometimes at schools, I know that they have social workers and they have psychologists in schools and in universities. So it becomes very important for you to maybe have details on how to access these different services, okay? And then the next one that I'm going to touch on is depression, kgatelelo ya maikutlo. So there is being sad and there is being depressed, okay? So the difference between being sad, if I fell right now, I'd be very sad but not depressed. So when someone is depressed, they feel like their whole life has just, you know, it's shattered, it's come to an end. There is nothing that they can do. They don't see a way out. That is what depression feels like. It is an overwhelming sense of sadness, you know, like when someone asks you, how are you feeling, it becomes even difficult for you to articulate or to explain it to them that this is what I'm feeling. Some people in therapy will go as far as saying, I am tired, and it's a different kind of tired. And you can imagine explaining that to your family, only you feel it because it's very, very overwhelming, okay? So many things can also lead or cause depression. I'll just share a brief story about myself and being in varsity and experiencing depression in varsity. While I was studying the very same qualification that I can now stand in front of you and speak about. So when I went to varsity, for one, there was just so many changes, right? Now you can imagine I live with a disability, and university is very, very big. The University of Johannesburg is huge, very, very huge. And I am used to having transport take me from the house, drop me off, go gating, yaskolong, and I come back home, etc. So there's really not much movement that is happening there. And in my mind, I cannot fathom that there's any more or greater walking that I would have to do. So now I'm excited. I'm going to varsity. I have applied. I've been accepted. The first day when I was there, I was anxious for starters. You know, I had that anxiety because I'm just like, what is happening? Where am I? This place is so huge. It's so huge. Everything is far. It's not like the classes I hear, like the lecture halls. That's what they call them. Everything is far. I'm overwhelmed. I am anxious, and this is change, you know. And then when I'm there, also I notice now I am met with the fact that I am actually different. I am actually different, and then I think that's when I really started, you know, struggling with depression. You know, the realization that I am actually different in comparison to others. You know, because in high school you'd get teased here and there, but nothing hectic. In varsity, no one is teasing you. It's just the realization because you are growing up, right? So now I'm struggling with depression because I'm seeing that, okay, I'm different and I'm just going through so many changes and I do not know how to cope or adapt into the new environment, which is university. So when all of that is unfolding, I'm also just trying to understand how to navigate the place. I realized that I needed help. I couldn't cope or even share the feelings that I was feeling, you know. My mom wouldn't understand how I felt. I remember at some point I even felt like saying, I just want to go back home. This is not worth it, you know. And the University of Joburg has what they call PsychEd. So what they have there, it's mental health services for any student that needs them, you know. So I went there, I accessed their services, and I started talking more about what I was feeling, you know, and even the psychologist was able to say, yeah, you are depressed, you know. And the thing about depression is that sometimes you might have had it as an underlying condition, but something triggers it. So all along, you might have had depression, but then something happens and that is triggered, right? So when that happens, you need to sit down with a professional to unpack and to understand what your triggers are, which is what I did, right? Through that, a lot of things came out, you know, about that depression, you know, things like self-esteem, how you view yourself in relation to others, right? With that, you have to work through, you know, self-confidence. So one thing that I used to struggle with is mirrors, because my life changed after an accident, which is also just a long story, with a drunk driver who had me in a wheelchair for quite some time. I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. And then eventually I was able to use a crutch. So I struggled with mirrors because I couldn't really reconcile with that version of myself, this new version, this person. But through therapy, through having someone to talk to, I was able to overcome that. And then as I gained confidence, I was able to even advocate for myself and other students who were disabled in the institution. I think because of me, we started having transport for persons with disability for their community service. So when you are studying professions like ours, you have to go and do ComServe. And your ComServe can be very far from the institution. Mine was at Chris Hani Baragwanath Academic Hospital. So I went and I said, okay, this is a module and I'm expected to actually go and like show up for this, but I can't, I don't have the means, you know. So I feel like the university should assist me. After a back and forth of emails, I don't know when, but then I suddenly got an email that, okay, we've organized transport for you. So I started feeling confidence and I started learning tools as to how to navigate my depression. So whenever I would feel down or depressed, I knew that I had people that I could trust, that I could talk to, one of them being my psychologist, because I saw them, I think, until I did my honors. So that helped a great deal. Then another thing that you might experience in varsity or at school, unsokena skolo, kulahlehelwa, grief, loss, you know, losing your loved ones. So this is something that none of us are immune to. And again, while I was in varsity, in my 3rd year, I lost my father. And it was during peak exam time. And that was really, really challenging because the thing is, when things are happening in your life, be it loss, be it changes, life still continues. So in an institution like a university, if it's exam season, you are still expected to write exams. If you go skolong, you will still be expected gore o ngwale di-test tsa hao o pase. They are not gonna say, wena your parent has passed on, wena your cat has passed on, therefore we are excusing you from writing exams. You are still going to have to write, right? And when that happened to me, the same thing happened. I needed support. I needed support from a professional and also from my loved ones. My loved ones being family and professionally being the psychic services at the institution. If you are at school and you do experience loss, I think most schools, as I've said earlier on, that they usually have social workers there. You need to go and talk about it. It's very important that you talk about your feelings regarding the loss. Why is this important? When we do not talk about our feelings regarding things that happen to us, we have a tendency to bottle them up, but then what happens is they come up in very unhealthy ways. So sometimes if you do not process your grief or your loss, you can end up being someone who is very, very angry. Sometimes ungazithola ushaya nomuntu ungazi nokuthi umshayelani. You know, just because someone maybe dropped something, maybe your pen, when I saw I'm shy. Because you haven't processed maybe that loss that has happened at home. And grief and loss is very, very broad. So loss or grief, it's not only limited to ukulahlekelwa abantu esibathandayo. Nokushintsha kwesimo endlini, like maybe a parent losing a job, also has the same impact on your mental or rather psychological well-being as it would for someone who has lost a loved one, because this is a change. This is not something you have been accustomed to, right? Manje endlini, if maybe you are used to having pizza every Friday, now you can no longer do that. Now, if you are used to going to school on the first day of school, when now you have a new uniform, that's no longer going to happen because one of your parents has lost their job. That can be very, very difficult to cope with. So it becomes very important for you to utilize resources that are there in your schools to help you to process such changes in your lives, okay? And then another one that I'll touch on that I think is linked to one of our guest speakers who was here, it's substance use, using drugs and alcohol. So using drugs and alcohol can be something that starts because you are trying to cope with the many changes and challenges that you are experiencing in life. So maybe you are at school and you don't have a uniform, or you are struggling to fit in with other kids, and maybe you feel like the only way that you can fit in is by starting to do exactly what the others are doing. So ukusebenzisa ama-drugs nokuphuza utshwala kucala kancane, kucala ngathi uyadlala. You know, kucala nje uthi hayi ngibhemisa isigarette yakho kancane, mina ngisuvela umuntu obhemayo, you will smoke that cigarette enyane setting ungayicedi, and then you do that only when you are with that crowd, those friends of yours, right? But then as time goes on, you start realizing that even when you are on your own, you start craving that cigarette. You start craving that alcohol that your friend made you taste, right? Now what happens? Now, kutlobali need ya gore wena uyitekele cigarette sa gago. Wena uyitekele your own alcohol, right? Now, awusebenzi wena umntwana esikolo, you are in varsity. What does that mean for you now? It means uzocala manje uzama indlela yokuthi uthole imali so that you can buy those things. It can be through go bua maaka at home to say, bafuna incwadi ye-photosynthesis. Mhlampe endlini abazi phela wena ufuna incwadi ye-photosynthesis bayakunika imali. Kune trip, we are going to a camp, they give you money. So you start lying, you know. Start lying. That is addiction building up, by the way. So yaqala manje somuntu onamanga, somuntu oneyitori, umama makabeke ibhegi so uyathatha wena imali uyazikhiphela, uyahamba uyohlangana nabangani bakho niyathenga. Remember, you started off maybe with just alcohol and cigarettes. Now one day your friends come again with the same cigarette, but now the cigarette is laced. The cigarette is laced with nyawupe. When I was, you pull a cigarette thinking it's the same thing that you usually pull. Next thing you know, you are hooked. Now the thing about inyawupe, it doesn't say use me a couple of times. Just once, you are hooked because of the withdrawal symptoms that you experience the following day. So just like that, your journey of addiction can begin. I know that they have legalized matekwane, dagga, but the honest truth is that cigarettes, dagga, alcohol, those are gateway drugs. So what does that mean? It means that for someone sometimes to become a full-blown addict, they would have started with these things, experimenting, joking, socially, but then it became something very, very serious. And it said, addiction, ayikhethi. Doesn't matter whether you are coming from a well-off family, doesn't matter whether you are coming from a household of pastors. I'm sorry, Pastor D. But it really doesn't matter, ayikhethi. And I saw this working in the field of substance abuse and mental health, where parents would come and sit down in sessions and ask the child, yini esingakwenzelanga yona? And the child will say nothing. You did everything for me. However, my friends, I had bad friends. So if there's anything that I want you to take away from this is that I know that some of especially the gateway drugs that I've spoken about, they are socially acceptable. Like alcohol, I mean, when there's a celebration at home, they will, bagolo ba tlo reka byala. Dagga, something that some people deem it as medicinal. Cigarettes, people will think, who has ever gone to a rehab because of cigarettes? But you'll be surprised. So the best thing you can do for yourself, ukuthi ungaqali. Just do not start. Because once you start, it can be the end of your future. Okay. Before I wrap up, just to share something as well, something very general. I know that going back to school, going back to varsity, not just for you, but also your families, can be very challenging. It can be very difficult. But I want to encourage everyone in here to always speak out when they are experiencing hardship. It is important that you speak. It is important that you create a community for yourself of people who can support you when you are going through hardships. Now, as you are here today, I believe that you are people who attend church, so you'll understand that kunabangani aba-right, kunabangani abangekho right. You must be able to remove yourself from friends that are not okay for you, friends that might hinder your growth and your chances of prospering in the future. It's important that you guys, get opportunities like this to have professionals and motivational speakers speak to you. Because here is one thing I've come to learn as someone who lives with a disability, and something that I always find comfort in. So in 2024, again, I'm going to share about myself. Around October, we got retrenched at our workplace, a very prominent company, and this was my dream company. This is where I had always wanted to work. And one of the speakers spoke about a vision board. So I keep a vision board. Everything that has come to pass in my life, it's things that I have spoken over my life to say, this is what I want, God. Right? And God always delivers. So it happens that unfortunately this company decides to retrench. Okay, cool. And when that happens, you know, I was in a state, not okay. But here's one thing that I found comfort in. The fact that I had something to fall back on, which was a qualification. Now I know uButilunga ukhulume ngokuthi the unemployment rate is very high, and he encouraged you guys to go to school. And I also want to encourage you to do that. There is nothing better than yazini maukhala, but you know that you have something to fall back on, because when opportunities arise, you are able to put in your piece of paper. You are able to put in a CV. And I promise you, I was unemployed, I was retrenched in October. By December, I was already working. So go to school, listen to your parents, and ask for advice when you do not understand. And remember, I'm going to say this in Siswati, bangani lababi bona similo lesihle. Thank you.
I'm a woman of my word, ne? Told you guys. I just want to get Q&A Sis Sheila out of the way before she goes to sit. Does anybody have any questions for her? While you think, okay, we've got a question. Kopa mic, while we get the mic, ngicela ungiphendulele nje day one. If I've got mental health issues, marakena medical aid. Do government facilities help? What are the steps? What do I do? Haki bona something's wrong.
Right. Thank you, Tsepi, for that question. Very important. So each and every community has resources. And if you're unsure about your resources, I'm glad that we have someone from the police here. You can go and ask, go police station, do they have, what resources do they have for you in terms of accessing a social worker? So the first point of reference is usually a social worker. In an event that maybe you do not know where social workers are, sometimes in communities there are places like Sanka, there are places like FAMSA, and sometimes you would know that there's a place called Department of Social Development. So if you can go to those places that I've mentioned, they are able to then help you with the relevant professionals that can help you. But these services are for free. So each and every community, even here where I am, I know for a fact that there is some sort of community resource that you can utilize. Maybe ki Sanka, maybe ki FAMSA, maybe ki some organization that is there that helps the youth. But usually, I don't know if they do it this side, police stations will have a list of the community resources so that Nabo, if someone comes, for instance, maybe let's say it's someone who's been arrested because usebenzisa drugs, ne? And then the police station, they are usually able to say, okay, magaphuma lo muntu lona, they should go to this service, maybe outpatient rehabilitation facility. It's called the diversion program yakhona. So I believe that most police stations can be a first point of reference for you to get the information if you are unsure. But remember, it is free of charge, okay? Unless you go to someone private, like myself, but otherwise, it is free.
Thank you, Shilo. Kopa mic ka mo. Ke le botseng ka speed ne, ke le ka ba le ditšhomo tse wrong hai one. Ka nka tšhelete ko pekeng ya mamaka. Ka lo reka cold drink. A nšhape ko strateng haufi le ditšhomo tsa teng. So le tlo mpona ke phumula mo le ska nna ga ke santsane ke motshaba le today. Ne? Le ska nna go fetsa o fitlhe so le ska nna. Kopa botsise potso se ya hao ne. And then ha ke fetsa, Sintswaki is going to take her job back.
Before I take my job back, and before you ask your question, I wanted to add to specific details for Tembisa for social work services and mental health services. There is a psychosocial welfare in Tembisa called Tembisa Integrated Organization. It's a very long name, but if you just catch Tembisa Integrated, they've got social workers there, they've got what's the course before social worker? Auxiliary. They've got auxiliary social workers there as well, and they're able to refer you to the different clinics to where I've worked there before. They're able to refer you to the different clinics where you are supposed to be served. So for instance, I know Mkatini Clinic, I know they've got social worker services there. I know they've got social worker services at Tembisa Hospital. But you go there through referral from these smaller organizations that is specifically for the Tembisa audience. And then from then on, you would get help through a social care worker who comes to your home or who checks up on you on a regular basis, and then reporting back to your designated social worker. And then for drugs, I think it's Psycho, something like that. Sanka, yes. There's Sanka in Ivory where you can go if you know or you want to get help for drug abuse and substance abuse. And they also can then refer you to either an outpatient program or they can refer you. There's a place in Johannesburg where they take you in for 6 weeks and help you to, it's a rehabilitation center, and they help you to get over the substance abuse and integrate into a better life. The next question can then come in.
nna ke na le putisho le bile be kgopela le go eda ndo mathonela go eda ke a ke le re ndo ba di bad influencers ke di seed for your dilo tse di botse tlo di agelang ke but nna ke be ke re batho ba re ba tswa mona ke be ke re batho ba le o tsamaile le bona ska ba tlogela o tsamaile le bona ka gore neglect most of the time o tsamaya le bona o ba thusha mona le tlo ba team yo ena le bond e golo le tlo gona go bopa ntho ke golo shomisela le tlo change sa ba se segolo sa magonte la gona go thushana mo philong la khwetsa ka moka le na le business yo itumile ke kwa go dimba batho gantsi bone be ba lebella mo fatshe ba tebe ke ska tšo le tšea le ba bangwe ka le wena modimo o tšea go ngwana ga re tšea le bana ba ga sepela le bona putisha ka go difference ya social worker le therapist king and the qualifications tsa therapist king le journey ya ka therapist jwang.
Okay, thank you for your question. Firstly, with your first comment, I'll just give you an example. So in substance abuse, when someone goes to rehab and they get rehabilitated, there's this thing that we call aftercare. So aftercare, the idea behind it is that niya aftercare because seniqedile program yenu ku inpatient, right? Now niyahamba nino 6 nina beniphuma rehab ni 6 uwe uSipho uJoseph angazi nobani. So niyahamba nonke lapho niya ku outpatient. What happens is, just to give you an analogy, oyi-1 lapho makanga relapse, chances are nonke esenirelapsile. It's rare ukuthi ama-addicts makahamba onke kaningi bonke baphumelele. So even in rehab, when we teach about life outside of rehabilitation, siyanitshela ukuthi njengoba nila anisibo abangani anazani nonke nize la for different purposes. It is not encouraged. So if wena ubona abangani bakho ukuthi abekho right and you have this compelling need to take them with and you think you can change them, that can be to your own detriment. Cabanga if maybe in that group one of the friends kills someone and mhlampe banazi nihamba nonke and there's an investigation and manje sebanifaka nonke. You didn't do anything, but this is the crowd that you associate yourself with. Okay. So think about that, just food for thought. So for you to be a social worker, a therapist, a registered counselor, for you to be a social worker, first and foremost, you must pass your grade 12, obviously. After passing your grade 12, apply to your desired institution, right? The same applies with being a psychologist or a registered counselor. Ne? Depending on your marks, you can get a bursary. I had a bursary from my first year until I completed my studies because my grade 12 marks were very, very good. So I would encourage you, because if you are in grade 12, uqinise nje kakhulu etincwadzini ufunze bangani bake beme kancane. You get a bursary. Mine covered everything. It covered from my tuition, my books, and then I would also get money to buy food. monthly groceries and everything and toiletries, right? So depending on your choice of subjects as well, I know that English is compulsory. Maths is also compulsory. Passing your home language is also very important, right? Biology as well. But how I always explain it to people is that just do well in all your subjects, because sometimes your marks follow you. Sometimes you apply for your job, as big as I am, and they're like, please produce your matric results as well. Manje cabanga wena so nabo 30. That's embarrassing. Yabo. So aim to get good marks always, ne? And then you will choose their electives. So a social worker can do social work and psychology. So psychology could be your second measure, right? A psychologist has to study for about 7 years for you to be a qualified psychologist. It's a very long journey. Ne? You can do psychology for 3 years and then become a registered counselor. So the word therapist is interchangeable. You can use it to refer to a social worker. You can use it to refer to a registered counselor. You can use it to refer to a psychologist. So it's a word that can be used to refer to any of these mental health professionals. Okay. I don't know if I'm answering you correctly. You understand? Okay. And apply for bursaries. Look online. Start thinking about what you want to do. This is the perfect time. There are so many bursaries that are available out there where but they shield you, they protect you, bafihla whatever circumstances you are coming from ekhaya. Awabonakali, because you will literally have everything. I remember when I was in varsity, some of my friends who were not on bursaries, from well-off families, they would even call my dormitory Pick n Pay. Because there's nothing you wouldn't find there in that room. Everything you wanted to eat was there because my bursary made sure, and the only thing I had to do was to pass. That is all. What December, that remaining money, I don't want to talk about it.
Siyabonga. Thank you so much, Sis Sheila. Also, Ntswaki, please prepare to take your job back. Bafitlileng early, you have received these, ne? Please, leska lahla and balang, guys. These are just important headlines on mental health and emotional well-being, family and healthy relationships, vision boards and goal settings, career and study pathways, sexual health and wellness, social media pressures, support services and law enforcement help, faith and Christian guidance. Riyaqeda. Mara le mamets ne? Le mamets akere? Now I feel like Sheila will like a because I'm over 30 and my metric results is 2 days. Very embarrassing. Thank you, Alson Twaki.
You know, there's redemption in the house of the Lord. And there's online courses in life. And you can go in the career choice that you want by registering for free online courses like Udemy, Cursive, and I think there's Allison as well. Yes, there's redemption in the house of the Lord. Hallelujah. Thank you, Aus Tepi. Thank you so much to Aus Sheila. Guys, did we learn something? Are we learning something? You guys are not convincing. Next time so that we can really see that you are learning something. No, let's stand up. I want to see if you learned something. Aus Tepi, there's a packet of sweets there at the back. Can I have like 5 of them? I want to see if they need to stand up. Oh, Jesus, have mercy. Eh? Okay, I want us to stretch first and make sure. Let's stretch first. So I don't know how to explain exercises. I'm terrible at it, but you can just follow what I'm doing. It's the one thing I'm not great at. And then I want you to let's stretch the shoulders. And then to my sound team, if you can play me something by Taita Bete, something nice and jumpy. We're going to have a praise break, and then I'm going to ask my series of questions and see who deserves sweets. If you can play me something that they can dance to, and the best dancer is getting a sweet. It's a deal, ne? Who alloy? The best dancer is getting a sweet. So who's gonna challenge her? She said it's her. We am challenge. We're gonna have a proper praise break, ne? Khotso doesn't necessarily have to be tied to bait, just something jumpy, please. I'm terrible at staying in the point, in the sight of the camera, right? I do apologize. Nyawasaba ma pulpit, that's why ngibale ukuba mfundisi. Okay, no, but he's not volunteering to dance alone. We are all dancing. Okay, what's uzongifundisa ke? Uzobonisa mina ne? Bangakopisi ubonisa mina. Yes, encourage him. Let's give him a round of applause. Ngibonise ke ngenze njani? Hayi. Okay. Yes. Who's joining him? Where's the pen? Namastalso. Anev. Khotso, stop the music. They're not dancing. Stop the music. And this next speaker is such a bomb. Anya ngimbize ningaka jive ishem nina mang. Sizo jive akala ne? Siyazwana ngisho. All right. Tepa, please play. Khotso, please play my music. Teach her something simple. Yes, simple. Koto nkosi yami. Dance. Okay, I see someone doing this. What else? Stand pen. Orality. Thank you, Khotso. Oh, the action is there at the back. Sonjaiva laphe move and fun sinbone. All right, no, it's fine. Let's have our seat. Thank you so much, media team. Are we refreshed? Sis right, mensch. We ready to take on another speaker, ne? But quickly, what did you guys? Our last speaker, Sis Shelley, spoke about the difference between a social worker and a psychologist. By show of hands, who heard her? Anzwang. She spoke about the difference between a social worker and a psychologist. Who heard her? And who can tell me what she said the difference is? Yes, tell me.
A social worker is a person who psychologist is someone who focuses on helping on mental issues and things that a person faces. For an example, depression, anxiety, such things. So then the social worker, someone who focuses on the issues that community-wise.
Did you hear him? He says a social worker focuses on community-based issues and a psychologist focuses on things that faces you personally. Things like depression and anxiety. Is he right? Does he deserve his sweets? So he's the only one that listened. He's not the only one. Okay, then give me one thing that you heard from Mrs. Sheila that she taught us today, because she shared a lot. What did she say? Uthemela ube ne-depression. Oh. What did she do to get over that depression? So when ubambing king, abambang solution. What are the professionals that she went to? No, you deserve a sweet. You deserve a sweet. Ukzwilas is Sheila, that when you had depression, you went to go see a psychologist to get help. Let's give him a round of applause. We're going to go to our next speaker. Goodness me, I don't even know how to even announce her properly. She's a mommy to me. She is a woman that has guided me and a lot of other young ladies in a lot of things. She's a woman who believes that a person must be independent in the Lord. Ne? Independent in the Lord. You must be making money. But that money, you must be making it with the Lord by your side. She believes that a young woman specifically needs to get her own money back. Ne? She believes in writing down your dream like Habakkuk 2 verse 2 says, and then running with what you've written down. I touched a little bit on vision boards earlier on. I was just paving, cleaning up the way for her to come through. Please stand on your feet and help me welcome Coach Stelo. I love how you didn't even know I'm talking about you.
I was looking for that woman. Sanbonani, let's just stretch ourselves. Stretch a bit, stretch a bit. I'm not going to take long. Let's stretch a bit. Move to somebody that's sitting next to you and ask them, how is your day? Hayi phela nibuzane nixoxe. Umbuze nje ukuthi how are you? Right? How many times do we check on each other? How many times do you do a check-in with yourself? Maybe what you need to do now, just look up and hold your chest like this. Just close your eyes. Breathe in. Out. Breathe in again. Out. The last one in. Out. Kusam ngathi umoya yaphela kanti nibhemani nina. Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Ngicela niyishayele izandla. I will try to be as brief as I can. I want to greet us all in the name of Jesus. Amen. We bless the Lord. My humble apologies. I'm late. I'm from an all-night prayer, and I had a meeting before I came here. So that is why I was late. I always love to be in this place. I love young people. So I was looking for this person that that she was introducing. I didn't know it's me, right? But thank you so much for coming. I want us to have a quick chat. Tsepi, hold me accountable in terms of time. It's 10 past. How many minutes do I have? It's 10 past 2. Until 2:30, 20 minutes, right? We're going to talk in 20 minutes. I always want to have a chat. Siri wants to talk to me. And I always want us to have a chat as young people. My passion, my heart for you guys as young people, I always want to write something. As I walked in here and our sister was talking, one of the things that was in my heart says to us, we are talking today about goal setting, about having a vision. I'm one of the people here at Beyond the Valley. Right? So right. One thing that I want us to look at. Know your truth. Right? Know your truth. Your truth says we are not wired the same. We do not come from the same backgrounds. I'll tell you where we am coming from. I'll give an example of 2 students or 3 of them that will play together during the day. They do TikTok dances together. Isn't we love TikTok dances, right? You'll do TikTok dances together. You go all over together as children. We're talking goal setting. Come a day of exams. You're sitting in that exam. You are now wondering, your report comes out. The very same person that you were playing with now did not get a 30%, got a 75%. The other one got a 20%. I don't want us to be robbed as black people about a pass. Don't go telling people you passed when you got 38%. Never, please, even parents that are here, because that is not going to take you anywhere. I sit with interviews, applications, 12,000 applications in a year. We look for 50 graduates, IT graduates. When we sit with these IT graduates, the screening of these graduates does not matter if this person, I know them from my church, or it's Pastor Dineo's child, or it's Reverend Matebula's daughter. It is the results that are from matric. These days, Bafetu, there is AI. We no longer shortlist because you brought your CV by paper in an office. All these things are shortlisted online. I'm here to remind each one of us that are seated here that competition is too high. Do not be robbed. We are sitting with a number, millions, thousands of graduates with BSc computer science, honors, master's degrees. They are nowhere to move forward for many reasons. Others, it is because they are not able to sell themselves in an interview. I said to Pastor D previously, I wish you could have a session one day, Tsepi, where we're gonna call you to say, come dressed the way you aspire to be, and we do a mock interview. Because our children are struggling in an interview. Why? Because you are excited you got a bachelor's degree, but your subjects are misaligned. Right? So I hear parents excited. I hear people putting on statuses, my child passed, and we are talking that 30%. I want you to understand how that is going to delay your journey. I don't want you guys to live in regret like us, your parents. There are things we wish we could have done years ago better. But because we are here today, do not burn where we got burned. We are here free of charge for you. We are here to say, study right, make right decisions, live right as a young person. She was talking about starting, thinking, I'm just starting in zamanyana, vape nyana and all that. Then the next thing you are swallowed into it. Your whole destiny gets buried while you are alive. And I don't want you to live that. We want to see young people who are focused, but remember, we are not the same. At some stage, you are going to fail. I was not like you, girl. I'm one who did Helena's license 3 times. I will fail with 1 mark. and fail with 2 marks. But the good part that I love about me is that I don't give up. I want to say to you, young people, our children today, do not give up on yourself. You are not this A student, but there is potential in you. No one is useless. No one is not usable. We are all usable. But I want you to understand your truth. One person, my young sister that comes after me, she's one of those that gets 9 A's. Who sits in a class she doesn't have to study. When she sits in a class, she gets everything right. But I'm one that can get a book now that I'm older. I can read a book and finish it 3 days, go into an exam room, and I will come up with a 90. But that's not how I was before. Understand how you are wired. I know most of you as young people, you love to say we're gonna cram this thing. We do not want, I don't want a crammed graduate. You are dangerful to the society. Imagine if you are coming with a degree that you crammed and you are a psychologist. What tools are you gonna give the world? Because you are here to solve a problem in our society. Take your vision to heart. What do you want to become? When you look back, I always say to you here in this place, you are not your background. You are not your circumstances. You are not that rape case that happened to you. You are not your pain, but you are what God aspired, purposed you to be. So as such, do not play with your vision. There are people, my God, let me tell you something. My God, Kosem, I was in prayer. There is another aspect of me that's coming that I don't want to bring here. So I want you to understand something. The mistakes that you will do now as a young person, when you are trying to fix them, they will cost you 10 years to fix something that you could have done by just choosing right friends, by just choosing to do right, by just choosing to make the right decisions. Know your truth. What is my truth? I am one that needs maybe 20 notebooks and textbooks for me to study. At the end of the day, your friends are not there. You are facing the same parents that you thought were bothering you. Your friends are no longer there. Right. Nikhona kodwa? Nisho ukuthi userious kangako vele? It's critical. Ngicela ke nismile nje phela kancane Nkosi yami. Ngathi seku serious kakhulu. Right. So in that being said, we are fighting different battles at different levels. Some of you, you are fighting a battle of your mother. Your problems have got nothing to do with you. You are fighting a battle that your mother fought, that your grandmother fought, that your great-grandmother fought. I was telling my son this morning, I said to him, some of your battles I've come to realize they are not your battles. They are my battles. Therefore, when you see me being hard on you, it is because I understand that this battle is not yours. This is a battle that needs me. So when you do right, your parents release a blessing upon your life. And wherever you go, and you carry a blessing of your mother and your father, you need to understand that you are hedged, you are shielded. But when your mother is in tears, bantwana bam, because of you, your dad is in tears because of you, usengozini. Right. So I want us to move forward. It's too deep for me today. I don't understand. We come from different backgrounds and exposures. I want you, when you leave this place, get yourself a notebook. If you don't have, speak to Pastor D. We will organize you a notebook. Free of charge. We will organize you a journal. Learn to write things down. You don't need anything fancy. You just need to put squares. You know, if we had a thing I was going to write, you just need to just bring a plain paper maybe and something for us to write. You tell yourself, take your report, your year-end report, and ask yourself questions that say, what is it that I'm changing? This is goal setting. I'm not bringing something, right? Yeah. I'm not bringing something that's too big for you. You take yourself, you take an A4 paper. After an A4 paper, you divide it into maybe 8 parts. After those 8 parts, you ask yourself, let me get my school report. You are sitting, we have resources here at Beyond the Valley. Sit with somebody either online, sit with somebody. We've got very good, young, intelligent resources here. Young like me, guys, right? Yeah. So you sit with those people. You talk about your results. Set yourself targets. Remember, your goals are in line with what you are becoming. Your goals then says, if I want to be this psychologist or a social worker or a medical doctor, what subjects do I need to excel on? Maths becomes a big one. Biology becomes another big one. Life sciences. But you know deep within that I'm not good in this subject. Therefore, what do I need to do? Instead, I always say there is good resources on TikTok. Inkinga abantwana bethu, TikTok we are using for dance moves and wrong things. Yet the same TikTok has got tutors that are for free. Do you know that TikTok has got free tutors? TikTok has got classes. TikTok has got lessons where you can sit down and learn and improve on your subjects. So I want you to look at all those things that you must improve on. When you are setting up your goals, we always talk about SMART principles. It has become so fashionable. But I don't want to talk about setting goals because I know majority of you know how to set these goals. But the question that we are struggling on is on putting action. That's where we are struggling. But I'm saying again, when it's about putting action, this is something I eat, I sleep on a day-to-day basis. And it's a struggle even for adults. The question then says, what are the things? I need you to write 3 distractors as I'm talking to you. What are the 3 things that distract you into actioning that which you are set to do? Let's begin to write, guys. I want you guys, because anibali nama notes Nkosi yami. I need 3 distractors from you. 3 things that distract you from doing actions. Let's look at that quickly. Then I will ask us questions. Young men, I need answers from you. 3 things that distract you, maybe things that causes you not to be able to do any action. Let's do that quickly. What are the 3 things that really cause you? Let's do that quickly. Young people, yes. What are the 3 things? I need answers from you, dude. Into ezi-3. Ezikwenza ezenza ukuthi ungaphumeleli, maybe ungaphasi kahle esikolweni. What are those? Sorry. Yes. We love that. Stand up and talk to us, Lana. What is it? What is peer pressure? Ningamhleki bafethu. Remember, this is important. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay. Niyamuzwa ngicela simshayele izandla, right? Who else has got an answer? Yes, there at the back, son. What are 3 things that are derailing you, that are causing you not to progress? Peer pressure and? Peer pressure at home. Okay. I love that. I love that, sis. I'm sure you're here. It is not necessarily peer pressure, but you are talking about the pressure at home that is affecting you. So these are some of the distractors, which is, ngicela simshayele izandla, this is very important. And parents that are here, I want us to hear our children well, that when things are not well at home, it is also affecting the well-being of your children, the productivity of your children. Let me hear from you, sir, at the back.
Home situation.
Yes.
So with me, for example,
Mhm.
it's just full of women in Yabona. So hey, women are just a problem sometimes. Yabona. Just to be in detail about it. Maria, so far it's just been home situation. For example, let's just say we're in the pool, so it's just about to buy a scream, don't, yabona. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ngicela simshayele izandla. These are home situations, and I want to believe we're writing these things down so that next time when we attend, who's got something, ma'am? You had something up there? Okay. All right. Mhm. Did you hear what she said? She says with her, it's procrastination. So most of the times when you think, the timetable, it's still far, I'm still gonna do it. And then, it's 2 days before, you now want to claim it, it's no longer happening, and what else? Being easily demotivated. Who can relate to that as well? Where you are feeling like, I don't feel like doing anything. Maybe you failed the previous, term. And as such, when something comes again, you are feeling like, sometimes what will cause that demotivation? It's words that are spoken in our homes. Sometimes our mothers or our fathers, or it's an uncle that's raising you, somebody begins to tell you, you are a good for nothing. You will not amount to anything. You are not gonna go anywhere in life. So I want us to look at all other factors. Who's got another one? Talk to us, sir.
Sanbonan. So for me, I would say the things that distract me easily would be number one, a lack of urgency.